Ukraine's government says it won't give up land to Russia in any peace deal as fighting continues in the east. The Ukrainian government says that it won't agree to any ceasefire or peace deal with Moscow that would involve giving up territory. A senior advisor to President Zelensky said any concessions would backfire because Russia would escalate future attacks. From Kiev, Joe Inwood has the latest.
In the Donbass, diplomacy feels a distant prospect. Russian forces are advancing towards the strategic city of Severodonetsk, trying to encircle the Ukrainian defenders. Heavy artillery and overwhelming force, which eventually won them the ruins of Mariupol, still their tactic. A senior advisor to Ukraine's president says only force of arms will end this conflict.
Russia sells nothing but war. It's only interested in expansion. Today it attacks Ukraine. Tomorrow it could attack any other country on the perimeter. Georgia, Moldova, and so on. There is no other formula but to subdue Russia today through an end to the war on Ukraine's terms.
But for the last few days at least, it is the Russians who've been getting their way. In the south of the country, the occupation administration there was keen to show off the hydropower dam they now control. And water has played a role in the build-up to this conflict. For 8 years, the annexed Crimean Peninsula was denied an important supply of it. Russia's invasion has got it flowing again. Here in the capital, despite Russian gains on the battlefield, the mood remains defiant. Now that is in no small part due to the horrors that have emerged from areas retaken from the Russians. Places like Irpin, where 2/3 of buildings were destroyed. Or Moshun, once a village, now a wasteland. Back in the Donbass, even amid the horror, people seem to find a moment to reflect.
What are they fighting for? What are we fighting for? Two brotherly people. Pull a soldier out of the trench and ask him. He would not even be able to tell you what he's fighting for.
But that fighting is continuing, even as they pray, maybe for a peace that seems as far away as ever. Joe Inwood, BBC News, Kyiv.
Well, as you heard there, eastern Ukraine remains where the most intense fighting is happening. It's a region which has been Ukraine's old industrial heartland. Coal mines in the Donbass region were crucial for the Soviet Union during its existence, but the war means most have now closed. Our correspondent Andrew Harding has been to one of the few where miners are still at work at Toretsk, very close to the front line.
It's not what you might expect to encounter right on Ukraine's front lines. An active coal mine. But today, within earshot of the war, the work goes on, at least in a handful of mines. Dangerous enough at the best of times, but with missiles now hitting this area every day, it's hard to know which is safer, above ground or below. I'm scared, like everyone else, but we still need to work, says Ira Yusko, a medic waiting beside the lift shaft. Wages here are low, but a third of the workforce has chosen to stay on at the Toretsk mine, at least for now. The miners here are just starting their shift. They're going to be heading underground, 800 metres below the surface to dig for coal. And it's extraordinary to think that the front lines are just 4 kilometres away from here. There's a mixture of Russian and Ukrainian speakers at the mine, but they're a close-knit community and prefer to talk about anything rather than President Putin and his invasion. Whether you want Putin or not, we all need to live and work, says Vitaly Vahoda. Russians, Ukrainians, and those still loyal to the old Soviet Union, we all share the same sky. But there are other challenges here in the Donbass, a region that once fueled the Soviet Union. This mine is 90 years old now, and it shows. Many of the aging mines have now shut down, but the war has made it impossible to maintain them properly. The management are worried that polluted groundwater could soon start flooding out. An ecological threat now hangs over our town, says Anatoly Sholokov. If the water floods to the surface, it will poison the soil and the rivers. It could be catastrophic. But that's a longer-term threat. As the morning shift crowds into the cage, there are more immediate concerns. The war above ground and the dangers still lurking far below. Andrew Harding, BBC News, in eastern Ukraine.
The head teacher of London's largest Ukrainian school has called on the government for funding to help it cope with the growing number of refugee pupils. St Mary's Ukrainian School in Holland Park has more than doubled its intake from 260 pupils before the war to 550 now, and more are expected to arrive in the coming weeks, as Anna Geary reports.
Mums queue, desperate to enrol their children into this Ukrainian school in Holland Park. St Mary's accepted another 50 refugee pupils. Now, headmistress Inna says her team are working tirelessly to help parents as much as students.
We help them with school applications and school analysis. We help them with the school uniform, food bank, national insurance applications. We provide English lessons in order for these people so that they can start building their happy life again.
The Saturday School has a 65-year history in educating British-born children of Ukrainians in London. But with so many displaced as the Russian invasion continues, it now runs classes for refugees to continue with the Ukrainian curriculum. And those students appreciate what it offers them socially.
Saturday School is a very nice school for me. I can speak with my Ukrainian friends.
The Ukrainian school is so vital for me because I can speak here with my Ukrainian mates.
The school also provides hot meals, but with pupil numbers now double what they were since war broke out, it's urgently calling on the government for financial help. In response, the Department for Education spokeswoman told ITV London it was committed to finding school places for 100,000 Ukrainian children and is working closely with the sector. Whilst these young people escaped early enough to benefit from an education here, as conflict continues, staff at St Mary's fear others may not be so fortunate. Anna Geary, ITV News.